In every generation, legends are born from the crucible of conflict. This is the story of Ethelred, a name once whispered in awe across the windswept hills and green valleys of his homeland. They called him the Unbroken, the shield of the people. We see glimpses of his legend, a young warrior, his blade a silver blur against a horde of raiders. A seasoned commander, his voice a clarion call, rallying the weary king, his brow heavy not with a crown of gold, but with the weight of his people's trust. For Ethelred, victory was never about glory. It was about the quiet promise of dawn, the laughter of children in the streets, and the enduring spirit of his kingdom. But peace is a fragile thing. From the shadowed lands beyond the mountains, a new darkness stirred. Not mere raiders this time, but a legion, a tide of iron and malice, with a singular purpose: conquest. Their banners blotted out the sun, their war horns a death knell echoing through the valleys. The scouts returned with tales of impossible numbers, of cities razed to the ground, of a darkness that consumed all light. For the first time, fear, a cold and unfamiliar serpent, coiled in the hearts of Ethelred's people. The challenge was absolute. The survival of their very way of life hung in the balance. As the enemy advanced, a clandestine offer reached the king. The invading general, a man who believed all honor had a price, proposed a deal. Ethelred could keep his title, his castle, and his life. He would rule as a puppet, a figurehead, while his people would be subjugated, their lands plundered, their culture erased. In return for this betrayal, he would be granted personal safety and immense wealth. The alternative was simple: annihilation. The path of personal gain shimmered with the false promise of survival, while the path of honor led straight into the heart of a hopeless battle. Night after night, Ethelred walked the battlements of his fortress, the cold stone beneath his feet a silent confidant. He saw not just stone and mortar, but the hands that built them. He looked out not at an abstract kingdom, but at the homes of farmers, blacksmiths, and mothers who had placed their faith in him. What is a king without his people? What is a life lived in shame? He thought of the ancestors who had defended this land with their blood, their legacy etched into the very mountains. The choice was never truly between safety and death. It was between a hollow existence and a meaningful end. It was about the legacy he would leave not in monuments of stone, but in the memory of his people. At dawn, his decision was made. Ethelred stood before his gathered army, their faces etched with fear but also with a defiant hope. He did not offer them false promises of an easy victory. He spoke of honor. He spoke of freedom. He spoke of the idea that it is better to stand together and fall as free men than to kneel and live as slaves. He held aloft his ancestral sword, its polished steel catching the first light of the rising sun. In that moment, he was not just a king choosing sacrifice. He was the embodiment of their collective will, their unwavering spirit. His choice was their choice. They would meet the tide of darkness not with fear, but with a fire that would burn in memory for 1,000 years. The battle was a symphony of courage and despair. Ethelred was everywhere at once, a whirlwind of steel and fury at the heart of the fray. He fought not for a crown, but for the soldier to his left and the archer to his right. He fought for the future he might not live to see. With every clash of his sword, he carved his answer into the annals of history. He chose his people. He chose honor. He broke the enemy's elite vanguard, shattering their illusion of invincibility, but the cost was immense. As the sun began to set, Ethelred, battered and broken, made his final stand, a lone bastion against the encroaching dark. In the end, Ethelred fell, but his sacrifice was not in vain. His final defiant stand had broken the enemy's morale and bought precious time for his people to regroup and counterattack from the highlands. The invaders, having lost their commander and their will to fight in this cursed land, eventually retreated. Ethelred's kingdom was saved not by a miracle, but by the will of one man who understood the true meaning of leadership. Years later, children would hear the story not of a king who died, but of the unbroken shield who lived forever. His legacy was not one of sorrow, but of inspiration. It became the soul of his nation, a timeless reminder that true honor is not about winning, but about fighting for what is right, no matter the cost. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of history and legend.